Well, good afternoon and welcome everybody to an absolutely glorious day here at one of the great racetracks in all the world, certainly in North America. I like to call it North America's Nürburgring. Here they call it America's National Park of Speed. And, of course, it is Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. A stunning day. Considering what the weather was originally forecast to be about a week ago, this one is absolutely glorious. Take a look at that. I mean, it is superb. And Calvin Fish alongside. I'm Greg Creamer. Cal, one of the things we both have been talking about since we got here is even more than we've seen in the last few years. When you arrived here, this place is just blossoming.
It's immaculate. Just hats off to everyone here at the track because it's our favorite. And when you come into this facility and you see what an amazing job they have to really upgrade every single aspect. It's manicured, it looks beautiful. The track is always mega, and for the spectators here this weekend, they've just gone to extreme lengths to make sure it's an enjoyable weekend. So congratulations, it's great to see this track looking so superb.
Yeah, I mean, and the crowd has responded. It is absolutely huge here. And zip line is at full song as you walk underneath it. Everything is working. It's, I think, the grandstand's over by Canada Corner. This place is absolutely packed. And, of course, it's all part of the Kohler Grand Prix weekend. But for us, it is the Grand Prix of Road America for the Pirelli World Challenge presented by VP Racing Fuels. There's actually a shot of the zip line that has been absolutely buzzing, quite literally, here as the weekend unfolds. One thing we want to remind you as we welcome you here to our live webcast here for our global audience is the fact that this weekend we are going to be doing a same-day, almost as live broadcast for the GT racing that will unfold here. As a good group of fans there. As a matter of fact, there's some of the folks in the stands that we know. It's stupendous. Is that group of fans up there in the stands and getting ready to go racing here. But going to have some fun. And, well, speaking of fun, there's your zip line, folks, getting ready to go here. But because we're getting ready for this same-day live broadcast, as live broadcast, essentially, you might hear, as you eavesdrop as we're building our CBS Sports Network show, it might be some longer layouts on occasion as we're really having some serious conversation with producers and the like. When we do that, we're going to try and ride the natural audio so you can hear the cars a little bit. But some of the layouts might actually be a little shorter because of the window we have. We're going to be bringing you an awful lot of racing. And, of course, this is, Cal, the return after 6 rounds, essentially. There was 3 weekends of doubleheader for the Sprint X format. One of the races got postponed to later in the season. So we return now to the traditional or historic for the Pirelli World Challenge Sprint category. 1 driver, 50 minutes of competition. And there's a few drivers that have been licking their chops for this one and at this location.
Yeah, well, certainly the Sprint X rounds went Michael Cooper's way. He and Jordan Taylor had an excellent run there, and it's allowed Michael to really leapfrog from 8th in the points after Long Beach all the way up to the championship lead, 10 points in front of Long and Alvaro Perez. So it's been a great series of races for him, but like his teammate Johnny O, he's really struggled, of course, in terms of not having the best of luck in those rounds. So Johnny O, he loves the traditional 50-minute sprint format. He's a 4-time champion. He wants to get back to his normal gig, let's put it that way. So he loves this racetrack. Was quick here last year, had some electronic issues, but ultimately could have cost him the championship when you look at the points at the end of the day. But, you know, looking at the Bentley, they look really strong here. Yep. 3rd consecutive pole. I think the real key is, Adley, can he put this double pole now at Road America and turn it into a win?
Absolutely, and we've got some other players that are going to be at the front, and some of them, haven't been running for the full season, so they're not really in the points championship. They can still play a big role in how this season unfolds in terms of taking points away from some of the competitors, and we'll talk more about that. In the GT-AM category, James Safronis had the fastest qualifying lap in his number 14 Global Motorsports Group Thermo Club Porsche. A really solid run by a guy. He always shines here is Tim Pappas in that number 54 Black Swan Racing Mercedes-AMG. There's a look at James Safronis. Pappas, I think it was 2010, 2011 in the American Le Mans Series. He, with Jerome Bleekemolen, won GT Cup. But he's also had a very, very strong run here. I think it was 2014. He won the GTM category. He just really lights up here.
Yeah, and it's like horses for courses. I mean, I think everyone loves coming to Road America, and some people have had more success than others. So it's a wonderful weekend, great venue, great race circuit. And but it's all about how is your car working. I know there's some guys in qualifying who felt they put together maybe the lap of their life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Alvaro Perez, but it's still not good enough to be at the sharp end of the grid. So a lot of that comes down to, is your car suited to this race circuit. It's a power circuit in some ways, a lot of long straightaways here, but downforce is also a big help because you're in the corners for a long time. These are long duration corners here, and also if you trim out too much, it's going to hurt you into the brake zones as well, and they are crucial to get around this race circuit quickly.
Absolutely. And in GT Cup, Yuki Hirata in the number 55 Dream Racing Lamborghini on the pole. Marko Radicic in the number 11 Precision Driving number 11, the Ferrari Evo right there in second spot. We're going to pause here. We will be back once the field comes to life after the start command, and we will bring you this 10th round of the championship from the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at Road America, presented by VP Racing Fuels. Welcome back, everybody. Look at that field. GT, GT8, GT Cup machinery ready to go here at Road America for the Pirelli World Challenge. And at this moment, let's get down and meet the third member of our broadcast team standing down and amongst that glorious field of cars. Jeff Lepper, gotta love your view. All right, thanks very much, Jeff. And there is our Cadillac safety car, the beautiful ATS-V, leading this field out for their parade lap here. It tracks long enough, only one, and then we will go racing. And that car, part of the great support that we get from Cadillac as this number of seasons really has unfolded here in the Pirelli World Challenge. Special guest driver in that safety car. We'll talk about that. Here is our safety vehicle, the Cadillac Escalade. That is great to be able to have as a quick response. Now, Cal, let's get to our Pirelli keys for the race. I think the first one, Jeff alluded to it, is can Adderley break through?
Well, it's the third consecutive pole for Bentley here at Road America, the second straight for Adderley Fong, and can he break through and get that first victory in World Challenge competition? He's got the speed here. The car is very well suited. I think the key may be the start. That Bentley typically takes a little bit of time to get life in the tires, so do the other guys take advantage of him in the first lap or two?
Secondly, starting inside of the second row, the Red Dragon has returned, and it's breathing fire here.
They're really quick. They've taken a break from the action in terms of going away, testing, learning more about that Porsche. They've had Wolf Hensler, one of the Porsche factory guys, helping them with that. He's going to assist in a couple of the Sprint X rounds that they are going to now participate in. And it was great to see Memo Gidley return to a proper race car for the first time since his massive crash at Daytona a few years ago. So great for Bob Stallings and that group to get Memo back in the saddle. And
they said that by the end of the test, he was within 2 seconds of those two guys in that car. So that's a great return. Third one, drop back a little bit. There is that blue, that Vector Blue number 8 Cadillac of Michael Cooper. We talked about the great start to the season he's had, going from 8th after Long Beach all the way into the point lead. But as Jeff said, didn't have a great qualifying.
He did, and I spoke to Michael just a few hours ago, and he said, yeah, we split an upright. He said, I was on a really good lap. It was good for third on the grid. And he said he came out of 14, felt it go, tried to drive it to the finish line, and suddenly it was getting pretty ugly, so he had to bail on it. But he's got pace in that Cadillac. He said we've made a little setup change. We're rolling the dice a little bit, but he's a man on a roll at the moment. Great momentum coming off the Sprint X rounds, and now has the championship lead.
And with teammate Johnny O'Connell outside of the front front row. He knows he's got a rocket ship, and he wants to stay in that points lead. Will he? Well, we'll find out when we come back to Road America. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, as we are out on our pace and parade lap, if you will, here at the Grand Prix of Road America, presented by VP Racing Fuels. And I want to take you now to our Porsche race analysis. And good field here, 26 cars that are going to be taking the green flag here. Absolutely mega weather here, absolutely fantastic, and just an amazing track for them to do it on.
Yeah, the weather is very cool. It should be perfect for racing. That may help out. A lot of concerns about tire degradation, and that should help a little bit, but certainly these long duration corners is the key factor.
And of course, we've got some onboards we want to share with you here as this one unfolds. First of all, on board the number 3 of Johnny O'Connell in that Cadillac ATSVR. So we'll get some great looks for him. A couple of looks from each of these cars. So we'll be able to share this look as well as some looking forward. We also move to the number 4 Magnus Racing Audi of Pierre Caffer. I think this is a guy who's absolutely determined, especially after what happened at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. He wants to get after it here today. Look at the focus as he is getting ready to go.
That car coming off victory at Lime Rock, remember?
Absolutely. Then Ryan Eversley, and this is a big one for the local Saukville, Wisconsin-based team, Real Time Racing.
There he is.
Ryan giving a wave here. He understands it big time in that number 43 Acura. And your pole sitter, number 88, Adderley Fong. And you notice he's sitting on the opposite side of the car. A lot of fast right-handers here, Kel. I think that human ballast, it can't hurt, right?
It can't hurt. Certainly have the weight on the inside of the car, so we now look for green.
Here we go, up the field. The pace car is in. We're in the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. They have to maintain the speed till they see the green. That front row bringing them up, and we are racing at Road America. And boy, what a launch by Johnny. Yep.
Johnny Red is on. Adley now tries to get to the inside. Look at Fogarty on the inside. Oh, Mancinelli, a deep move there. He's in the grass once again. We've seen some argy-bargy with that Ferrari this year. He keeps it together, though.
Yeah, he is certainly aggressive on the starts. Look at this now, down into 3. And, Adderley shallows up his entry. Johnny tries to cut underneath. And look at the move by Long, trying to wrap around the outside of Fogarty.
2 Porsches there side by side, battling for third. It's a run down the Moraine sweep down towards turn 5. That brake zone is going to be key here. Can Adderley Fong keep together? There's a little touch there. They're brushing. Fong's looking strong here. Johnny O takes it in really deep, and Fong goes there. He touches it, turns Johnny O'Connell.
Johnny lights up the rears, trying to keep it from stalling. Cars scattering everywhere.
You can see that one evolving there.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Johnny tried to ramp the outside, and he eventually turned in, and Adderley was down to the inside. So Johnny continues. So big off by, that is the 99 Red Dragon here. Fogarty's got a lot of grass in that grill, too.
Cooper looking down the inside. Ali Goodell's had a good, strong start here. Johnny O'Connell want to be doing donuts in turn 5 at the end of this race, not on the first lap.
Yeah.
He just can't catch a break right now.
Working through the legendary carousel, which leads into an even more legendary corner. Look at this. Immediately Fogarty trying to make up anything he can. Here we go into the kink.
This is crazy stuff. I spoke to Johnny O. He said in qualifying, you could not believe how quick this corner is. Just a slight lift and back on a flat out through there.
That was interesting there, watching Alvaro Perrin, who did not have it look like a great start. And Negrão may have thrown a pretty significant block on him here. Now Perrin trying to get down the inside of the cannon. Yes.
He was up and on the curb there, nearly had contact. Now they're brushing bodywork. Take a look here. You can see this one was going to come together here. Johnny O was taking it in really deep. Adley goes with him. And there's just not enough room for those 2 cars to get through on that line.
Watch for it here. Looks like he's got him covered, but Adderley's there, isn't he?
Yeah, it's risky there, and I think Johnny needed to take a wider sweep there to allow Adley to remember these tires aren't completely up to temp now. We're on board with Adley Fong. Right there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a car width available to Adley Fong to make it into the apex.
And actually, Perrin didn't get a terrible start, but he ended up going all the way around everybody off into the gravel to turn 5 and evasive. That's what cost him some time, but he's already picked up a couple of key spots here. And Eversley, is that Peter Cox? I think that's Peter Cox. He's been quick all weekend, now up to 4th.
He's been very strong. I mean, they came here and tested Greg, and he hadn't driven here before. He said, I just love this circuit. Remember, his teammate is Ryan Eversley, who swept both rounds here last year. So that's a great yardstick when you're quicker than the guy who swept the weekend. He's learned this track really quick, and this Acura is starting to come alive.
Yeah, Michael Cooper now has gone around Alec Udell, and remember, Cooper, the point leader, that puts him into 5th. Udell still a remarkable start after having qualified back in the 11th spot. He said the car wasn't quite right, and they really were going to throw some changes on that Euro World Global Motorsports Group car for the young Clemson engineering students, and it may have worked. That car looks quick, but Cooper, I'll tell you, he's just quick, and obviously the Cadillacs work well here.
They do. They've always been strong here as a track that really suits their dynamics. But I tell you what, this is good news for Adley Fong if he gets away with no penalty. And I don't think he's going to get one from the stewards on that contact. It was just a racing incident the way I saw it. This is good news because he has the track position now. He'll have the tire temp into that Bentley, and he could be good to go.
And Cooper is now starting to attack on Peter Cox in the number 93. Here he comes right at us, the Acura with Cooper right behind him. Then Udell, then the number 6 K-Pax McLaren of Sellers.
Sellers had a good first lap here, a little bit disappointed with his qualifying run. They got a little bit lost with the setup, tried some shock absorbers on the first day of practice and had to backtrack a little bit and just could never quite catch up, so it's a good first lap for him.
There you see the leader in GTA, the 14 of James Safronis, the Global Motorsports Group Thermal Club car. Right behind him is Pierre Caffer, who is up into 10th. And after qualifying, they found a gearbox leak. It was getting some oil apparently onto the tires, and plus they're just down on straight line. They said that I think they said they trimmed the entire car out, so that didn't work. So they've just thrown a setup at it with as much downforce as they can legally run, and said, I'm just going to drive it.
Well, when you look at the configuration of this racetrack, Greg, it's very tempting to just trim the car out, but you're into these long brake zones for such a long time that it really hurts your ability to get the car slowed down, and then you're in the corners for a long time as well. So I think they've made the right move. Remember, that's a car that won at Lime Rock, with Spencer Pumpelly putting in a tremendous drive there to clinch the victory alongside Dane Cameron. But Caffer was off running at the Spa 24-hour race that weekend. Perrin looking for a way through. He gets down deep. Eversley gives it to him. Good, clean racing there.
Yep, that's racing with good respect and track awareness, certainly, as they know. Through turn 8 and then leading into the carousel here. You hop on board here, and you get to have this bit of a ride with Ryan Eversley into the carousel. Exiting. Oh, boy, here we go.
And he told you after qualifying, Greg, the car's a little bit inconsistent, but they found something that slightly amiss in the setup. He was hoping for a stronger start. Carousel, it just goes on forever. You can hear him just working that throttle, try to get to the point where he can now roll into it, accelerate down towards the king. Let's listen to the throttle trace here. These guys just doing it with the slightest of the lifts and then back on it hard. About 142 miles an hour apex.
Johnny said in qualifying, he said just the slightest breathe into the king. He said these cars are sticking.
Yeah, these GT3 cars with the downforce are tremendous. They're so suited to a track like this. However, you do get a big aero wash from the car in front of you that punches that hole in the air, which means the air is not getting fed to those front dive planes.
On board with Eversley, remember, huge weekend for him and real-time racing last year as he won them both and included a pole in that one. He wants to shine here once again today. We're going to pause, but we will be back with more from Road America. back at Road America, and obviously watching our GTA leader there, James Sifronis, as he climbs the hill, leading in GTA. Had a great qualifying run and is managing to hang on there.
Look at this, side by side, our championship leader looking to the inside of Peter Cox. Cox has been warned for blocking a little bit, so he couldn't get too aggressive there in defending.
And then you saw right behind them that blue and orange highlighted Porsche. That's the Euro World Global Motorsports Group entry of Alec Udell. He is our Optima Batteries Best Start Award winner, up 6 spots in that opening lap from where he started. So a tremendous run for Alec Udell, currently running in the 6th spot right now, having a very, very solid run in front of Sellers, Dial, and then his teammate in points or position leader in the AM category, James Sifronis. So Alec Udell again studying engineering at Clemson University. That's the orange hue on the car, and he started the season with a big easy sweep almost of the 2 rounds at St. Pete as a GTA driver, and they said, yeah, we're done with that.
Enough of that.
You're up into the pro ranks, and he's acquitting himself very well.
Yeah, he's doing a great, really solid job there, and Pat Long has really seemed to hone in on Adley Fong here. Both guys running lap times quicker than the rest of the field in the 206, mid-206 range. A 206.457 for Adley Fong is the fastest lap of the race. Let's not forget, your fast lap today establishes your grid spot for tomorrow, so that is something that the teams are very much on top of. But this is a guy who did not be expected to be toward the rear end of this field.
He is just going to be, seeing red underneath that red helmet, the red car, and he's just going to be frustrated. He's only been able to get back up at this point in the 17th. Although I think he's coming up in the back. Yeah, he's closing in on Pappas. That would 15th, but they're 16th. But boy, a long way back. Here's a look inside, and the focus in those eyes right now.
Yeah, he was super aggressive. I think he recognized he wanted to try and take advantage of the Bentley while it tried to get its tires into their sweet spot. But looking at, we'll have to take another look at it, Greg, but I just really felt there wasn't quite enough racing room. Johnny had the outside line into turn 5, and Adley took it in there pretty deep as well. It's not like he washed out wide. There was contact right at apex.
Yeah, I think that's true, and that's why I think there's probably, it was reviewed and no action taken. It was just the simple fact that it was a true racing incident on still cold Pirelli P Zeros.
Yeah, one that Johnny would certainly like to have back, as he's now working on Tim Pappas for that position, 16th right now. Just got to keep digging deep.
Yep, and he's going to come up in the back of another Mercedes and Alex Negrão. And he pulls that pass up. Meanwhile, up front, Adderley now stretches it. Yeah, Pat Long in that Wright Motorsports Porsche closed up smartly onto the back, and now Adderley seems to have drawn away just a little bit.
He does, a couple of car lengths further up the road, and I wonder if Pat had a little moment in turn 3 because crossing the stripe. He was certainly a lot closer than that.
And look at Cooper now as he's coming up and attacking that bright yellow Ferrari at Mancinelli. And watching some of the battling going on here. There's the number 9 of Perrin, the defending series champion, who came in here leading in the points last year and could only muster last year 2 6th-place finishes. This is just not a track that McLaren works awfully well on. And you just got to get whatever points you can and then move on as we're on board with Eversley.
Yeah, you have to manage your expectations with the balance of performance. Certain cars will not work well. This is not a great track for McLaren. But besides that, Greg, Alvaro was so frustrated because he said, I put together what I thought was one of the best qualifying laps of my life, and it was taken away due to track limits. So he's a little bit frustrated by that, but certainly you can gain some lap time by doing that. Turn 1, turn 14, where he ran afoul of those regulations. So that buried him a little bit deeper in the pack, and he certainly did not have a good first lap. He must have got caught up in that turn 5 melee.
He did. He ended up bouncing around the outside of everybody. Look at this now as Manson.
Oh, that was a twitch.
Big wiggle by Mancinelli under the brakes. And he had Cooper all over the back of him. And then he'd been able to gap Cooper by about 3-4 car lengths. And then had that little bit of a moment.
Yeah, you're transitioning over there from 13 to get set up for the very important turn 14. And it can do that. You just get a little bit wrong with your braking and trailing off the throttle. But a nice catch there. Didn't seem to lose too much ground.
Been a bit of a revelation this year in a couple ways.
Revelation, I think.
That too, revelation, yeah, because he's certainly got immense speed. There's no question about that. But some are, saying his racecraft might be just a little bit too aggressive, and he's been in a few incidents with some of the drivers. But boy, the kid is quick. There's no question about it.
Every weekend they seem to be a factor, Greg, and I think that's really the Ferrari and the Porsche. I'd say of all of the marks in the series, those two cars never seem to be so outside the performance window. They all seem to be very good at all of the race circuits we visit. And Mancinelli has certainly been a revelation in terms of at St. Petersburg, putting the car on the pole position. We're like, who is this kid? You know, I mean, he's listed as a GTA driver. And you dig into his history a little bit. He's certainly got a great record, and nice young man. But as you said, just finding his feet, trying to find the rhythm of this this championship.
We're just honing racecraft, isn't it? Really, is what it comes down to. I mean, certainly has the skill set. By the way, if you're running what it says on the car, the collection, it's fine Italian shoes. So we're trying to get Buddy up to it quite a bit here, of course.
Cooper trying to regroup here. See if you can sort of like factor in. He said, you do get a lot of aero wash, particularly through the King. Spoke to Johnny O about it. He said, I made a huge mistake in qualifying, tried to tuck up behind one of the cars and just got huge aero wash right through this corner. And that's one thing about that Bentley that runs up front. The problem that Pat Long's going to have is that that Bentley has a huge silhouette that punches an even bigger hole in the air. Talking to Michael Cooper about that, he said, man, you got to be really careful behind the Bentley because you get twice as much effect on the front downforce.
Well, that's the irony of it, isn't it, with this high downforce level in GT racing, is you want to be able to get a great draft down one of these straights, but then sometimes you just have to abandon it because you're not going to be able to turn or brake.
That's right. You know, you're going to get a bigger advantage drafting up behind them down the straightaways, but certainly a bigger negative when you get to the corner and trying to turn the wheel. And it looks like Pat Long's dropped off the pace a little bit here. Bradley Fong gap is now up to just under 2 seconds as they cross the stripe. He'll be thinking big picture as well, though.
There's a look at the number 55 Dream Racing. That's a Lamborghini Super Trofeo category Huracan, which is allowed to run a GT Cup here. Yuki Hirata driving for that car. Very new as a race car driver. Not short on bravado, though, because prior to racing, he was a professional downhill skier. So not too worried about that. He said he blew out his knees really bad in a crash, and he said, I knew I couldn't ski again, but I love speed. And he said this seemed like a natural thing to try, and has done it and is doing a pretty good job hanging on to the lead in GT Cup right now.
Yeah, the car always looks superb. They're a really well-presented team.
Yeah, they are.
And he's another one of these drivers that's finding his feet with the championship. But like you say, you shouldn't be intimidated, even if you're looking at corners like the Carousel and the King. Oh, something. Not sure if that was some debris there was bouncing off.
There's a little bit of clag.
Fong looking really good here, Greg. I suspected this. If he could hang on and then get into a rhythm, the car has shown pace here over the last few seasons. Butch Leitzinger holds the lap record still. In Bentley, Chris Dyson had a victory 3 or 4 years ago here. As we mentioned at the start of the show, 3rd consecutive pole for the Bentley.
Yeah, matter of fact, 2015, I think it was for the 3rd race, because there was a makeup race and then the actual 2 rounds. And I think after the 2nd race, it was a 1-2, a front row sweep by the Bentley. So it just is so suited to this track. And, you know, just getting on sort of the aesthetic side of things here, I'm not sure I've ever heard a better sounding turbo motor than the one in that Bentley. That V8, that sound still kind of erupts through the turbochargers. It's a glorious sound, and we ride with it as we step away. Welcome back, everybody, and a change for third as Michael Cooper, after a long pursuit in the Vector Blue Cadillac ATS-VR, has managed to make his way around the bright yellow number 31 Ferrari of Daniel Mancinelli, and our points leader now up into third. Here is a look at the number 43 of Ryan Eversley, who also has made up a little bit of ground and now sits in the ninth spot. And as we hop on board, Cal, he's carrying our iBox suspension cam, and around this track, especially in those long, fast right-handers we're talking about, better have that dialed up.
Yeah, you really need everything working with the iBox suspension, and the good news is that's the local team based here in Saukville, just down the road from Road America. So they've got a great notebook, and you can see their car working really well through there, through turn 5 up the hill. And this is a man who's on the move right now. We just saw Ryan Diel hit pit lane and dropped a couple of positions, and see Ryan really right on the ragged edge there, digging deep there, trying to make some ground up to the next man in front of him, which is Alvaro Perent. So Perent's having a bit of a charge here as now Jeff. What's going on in the pit lane?
With Ryan Diel, he brings the Vilbers Mercedes here on pit lane. They pop the hood up. The engineers are looking at some sort of debris. There's oil down in the bottom of the catch by the radiator, so I'm not sure if they have an oil cooler line loose or something leaking or damage at all, so they're still trying to figure it out down here on pit lane.
I spoke to Ryan after qualifying. He said we just can't figure out. We're about 6 to 7 miles an hour down in straightaway speed. And they thought it might have been the motor, but the AMG guys said, no, everything looks good in terms of the data and such. But you can see there, they're checking the oil.
Trying to figure out what the problem might be. Right as we came back, we saw him duck into, right before we came back, we saw him duck into the pits.
And Eversley passed him, but he's tied to a tree, so there's some kind of power issue going on.
So they're going to be working on that, obviously, for a while. And hopefully they'll be able to get in resolved. So meanwhile, back on track, again, it continues to be Fong continuing to lead over Long. Now, we're getting reports from the 43 of Eversley that we had just ridden with here that we've seen him running wide on a couple of spots. Track limits.
Yeah.
They're starting to suggest that he may want to tidy up his exits.
Yeah, he had to run out of Canada when we were in Bray. He was almost in the spectator area, so wide coming off that corner, but he just wringing the neck of that Acura, trying to get a bit further up the field. But great to see those cars improving. They've really been fine-tuning those, working on a new car, new platform this year, of course. Had success in another sports car championship recently, so there's high optimism within that group that a podium run will be on the cards here pretty soon for this team.
And, of course, they're running here without team principal P.D. Cunningham in attendance, as he's having a tremendous run up the mountain at Pikes Peak and last year's winning car.
Yes, and his second fastest, I think, in qualifying behind Romar Dumar is probably the favorite there this year, so P.D.'s having fun. Well, this team are working hard here. Pat Long is now closed back in on Adley Fong.
And Cooper's coming. He is throwing down some really good laps right now.
Well, he said they had a lap going good enough for third on the grid until that upright broke on him in turn 14 this morning, and they were making a little tweak on this car. So with the speed that Cooper's showing, it makes you think about what Johnny O'Connell could have done if he'd managed to survive turn 5.
By the way, number 2, Dial, officially retired and going back into the paddock. Apparently whatever it was on the car terminal, at least in terms of being able to get back out and to continue this race. Now, there's an irony here that Cooper, after that trouble qualifying, the break he got in a way was caused by being on, as we ride on board with Johnny O'Connell. When Johnny spun, it opened up an opportunity for Cooper here, and that's not how you want to take that advantage. But Johnny O'Connell doing what he can now, closing up in the back of John Fogerty for 12th.
Yeah, and Fogerty had that off in turn 7, which would be very disappointing to that group. Yeah. They went away, skipped the Sprint X rounds that we've just been through to really focus on testing and development with his Porsche. Wolf Hensler's been a great help there, and they come into this round of the championship with a lot of optimism and a lot of pace in that 99 Red Dragon.
We talked about the issues for Johnny O'Connell. It ironically helped out his teammate. Here's the quick spin for Johnny with a paddle.
Good tip. There you see Perent. He's having to go really wide there. That's how Alvaro lost so much ground.
Now he just started to charge through the field, first by the number 11 of Radicek. Now up along the 77 of Preston Calvert, one of our GTA competitors in the Calvert Dynamics machine. And then around John Potter in the Magnus Racing machine. Johnny went. He's a driver who's got the ability to take that red mist and actually focus it and make it work for him instead of against him.
He does. It's remarkable. He's got true grit and determination, as we've seen with his championship charges over the last few seasons. Even last year, when he looked like he was totally out of it after the problems here at Road America, in fact, he went into that final round of the championship with still an outside shot of his 5th title. So he just continues to prove that he's at the top of his game.
I don't think, again, he continues to drive as good as I've ever seen him drive. So, problem for the number 11, Jeff, I understand, for Marco Radisek, one of our GT Cup competitors.
Yeah, Greg, this precision driver in Ferrari's had problems all weekend long. He gets mid-corner, the car shuts off. It's an electrical problem. They changed the yaw sensor, the ion sensor. They're trying everything they can do. And he's just, when once-lap traffic starts, he's more of a danger, so decided to go ahead and pull it on pit lane.
Well, it's a class act right there to get out of the car at this problem. He's had one of those seasons, remember,
at St. Pete with a fire.
Big fire there, and then they ran into some massive problems on a rebuild and had to skip 2 rounds they were planning on attending. And finally came out and actually had a pretty decent run at Lime Rock, and now this. It's unfortunate. And although he's going to be stepping behind the wheel of a touring car in just a little over an hour here, as he decided to have some fun and run with a fellow Serb, Stefan Sajic, in the Zima Motorsports car in the touring car invitational as part of the GTS race. The 88 of Adderley Fogg, nobody in front as he leads. And as you look into the eyes of your leader, Adderley Fogg, we want to remind everybody that if you're like us and are big fans of the series and want to know what's going on, easy way to do it, it's all through social media. Start off with Pirelli World Challenge site at world-challenge.com, and you can also get great video content there, by the way, including links to live webcasts of the races. You can go to Facebook, just search the Pirelli World Challenge Championship fan page, or on Twitter, just look for the handle at WC Racing. And, of course, for all things racing, do take a moment and check out Motor Trend On Demand, which includes the archives of all the Pirelli World Challenge races. And you can start your free trial at motortrendondemand.com today. And I'll tell you what, Adderley is looking forward to getting around and putting somebody between himself and Pat Long, Cal, because Pat Long has been coming up. Every time Adderley opens something up, Long is able to close it up, and Long clears Yuki Hirata, and the battle is on.
It is, but he's now getting into that zone where he's going to get that aero wash again regarding the aerodynamics, the wash off the car in front. Doesn't get onto that front splitter of the Porsche, doesn't allow Pat Long to turn through some of these fast corners. So I think early in the race he's just being smart, just backed off a little bit, didn't want to run those front tires off. Now he's having another go at him.
Well, it's interesting, too. You bring up a good point. You look at some of the other cars in the GT3 category, they've got lots of dive planes in the leg of the front of the car. That Porsche doesn't. It's relatively rounded and smooth with just the splitter.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see guys just trying to get half the car out to the inside to get some aerodynamic aid to the front downforce. This is the problem corner. That Bentley just punches a huge hole in the air You see Pat there just having to be super conservative through the kink. He's got to think big picture. You know, he knows that Perrin is in trouble here again today. Perrin has actually just got around Brian Sellers, his teammate, for the 7th spot. So he's having a nice recovery run, but Perrin leads the sprint championship just by a single point over Pat Long coming in here today. So it'll be a good day for Pat Long, which has been somewhat of a roller coaster season.
So watching Pat now, working through turn 14 up onto the straight.
Tell you what, we might get a little bit of a touch up from the stewards on that one. He is pretty wide there off of turn 14.
Boy, Cox is attacking on Mancinelli. That's a good battle right there for 4th. And then look at this one here as Perrin really has started to hit his stride here, and he's up on the back of Alec Udell in the Global Motorsports Group Porsche, that K-Pax McLaren. And Alec he's allowed to do that. He exited, moved over to the right. Look at this.
Peter Cox is having the race of his season right now, up in the top 5, trying to make a move around Mancinelli. Mancinelli's car does not look happy. Seems like the longer this run has gone on in the brake zones, you can see the rear twitching a little bit.
A bit sketchy.
Yeah, not too tasty.
And at this track, and if you're wondering there, as Cox went way across it, outside of the track limits here, and it looks like we've got, look at this, counterpunch move coming by Udell as Perrin was able to get him. Boy, this is so close, Cal.
This is just great racing. I think Perrin must have got underneath Alec Udell in turn 3, and then Alec was having another run back at him. But look at this, Eversley's on the charge. He's caught the tail end of Brian Sellers there. It's a battle for 6th through 9th we're looking at on screen.
Oh, you can see through the windscreen there how hard, though, Perrin is working. Gloves just flying as he comes up into turn 6, which is, I think, and Alec a little wide.
That could have been that aero.
Yep.
Brian looks to the inside. He's going to have dirt on those tires on Alec Udell's car, so Alec's got to be careful of the grip that he's going to have available in that next turn. A couple of turns, they'll be cleaned off again.
Oh, this is not what Perrin needed. And Udell diamonded the carousel just a little bit. Boy, he got a great run out of it. And now Perrin is going to be able to get underneath Yuki heading into the kink. That is a sketchy place to do that.
Alec caught him right at the exit there with a lot of speed. Had to give up, and Brian Sellers has now got a run on him. Who's going to be deep on the brakes down in the Canada corner? Brian Sellers looks to the inside. Eversley is hovering.
And all of this allowing Perrin to just look at his mirrors and see that group get smaller as they were slowing each other up through the exit and into and out of Canada corner. Boy, Eversley is on the wheel, isn't he?
He really is. He loves this racetrack. Had the double win last year. Totally different platform, of course, this year with this new NSX. And he's got the draft on Brian Sellers. Watch those eyes.
I always love this sort of contradiction because it is such fierce racing on the track, and they go to the onboard shot, and it's just casually. Yeah.
Looks so calm, didn't it?
He's trying to stay with it. Can't quite make it work. What I was going to say about Cox, when he was off, so far off at the exit of 1, that won't be an issue because that was because Mancinelli ran wide, kind of forced him out there. And the stewards, of course, understand that was just, he had no option but to run wide there.
James Safronis is having a nice run here today, leading in Am. But up into the 10th spot overall, so really strong run from the GMG boys today.
Yeah, he's taking a look here at Eversley, hounding Eversley, and behind him the interesting story is Caffer and O'Connell in 11th and 12th right now. There they are, the Audi and that red Cadillac.
Yeah, like we said, you just got to keep digging, and that's what Johnny O'Connell has done. There's still just under 17 minutes on the board. He can make some more positions up here. Have to wonder whether Fogarty's car was damaged with that big run he had off of that corner in the background, turn 7.
There's a look at James. See the 511, that is a clothing and apparel company that has stepped up to help him run this year. And in the past, James was certainly a full-on GT driver, but he's really not been able to drive as much over the last few years as he'd like, really concentrating on the customer side of his business as they field a number of teams in a lot of different series. This year he decided to come back and realize his racecraft wasn't quite where he thought it should be, and said I should probably be running in the GTA category, and that was, I think, a pretty gentlemanly thing for him to do.
Oh, look at this, Caffer and O'Connell in a fierce dice there. Caffer getting super aggressive there in terms of defending.
Downey looks like he wanted to stick it down the inside of 13. That's tough to work.
And Johnny's probably not in the mood for any messing around here.
Yeah,
I think he'll be pretty cutthroat in trying to make this move on Kaffer.
Meanwhile, Udell climbing the hill, leading this group of cars, currently in the 7th spot over Sellers, Eversley, and Sofronis, with O'Connell closing on Kaffer. Well, Alec Udell had been seeing the deep blue and yellow McLaren in his mirrors of Capex Racing of Alvaro Perez. And then now he's got that blue on blue McLaren of Ryan Sellers. But Alec has been able to open that margin up over Sellers just a little bit. And I think that's because Sellers might right now be paying a little bit more attention to Ryan Eversley in his mirrors at this stage, trying to keep him behind him.
Yeah, I wonder if Brian had tried to make a move and wasn't able to obviously pull it off and lost a bit of ground here, and immediately he's got Eversley all over his tail.
Yeah, Alec had said after the qualifying session, he said the car was okay, he said, but we've got a couple of ideas, and his engineer Neville Lagasse said, well, let's try them, you know, let's make some changes here and see what we've got. And getting some help obviously with that incident down in turn 5 at the start, but Alec has been giving it a ride. I think whatever they did certainly didn't hurt him.
A little twitch there from Brian Sellers. He's been struggling with the braking of his McLaren a little bit here this weekend, just looking at the data trace between he and his teammate Alvaro Perez. He said, I just can't take it in that deep and get the car slowed down. So he's certainly willing to try, but if the car won't do it, just won't roll down in time, there's nothing you can do about it. And the braking zones here are so critical. Break down into turn 3, down into turn 5, down into turn 8. These downhill sections, you've got to have the car working on the brakes, otherwise you will not have the light time that you're looking for.
Sometimes you know, people actually kind of forget about the fact, ooh, look at that compression.
Right there.
Yeah, that downforce on the car really improves your ability to brake later. And but if you've got some sort of inherent instability, just setup wise or whatever, that can negate that, can it?
It certainly can. And with these cars being homologated, certainly you're going to put more wing angle in the back. We've got to balance the car. That's the whole key, is balancing it to the front aero, which is set. So it's not like an Indy car, we can just tweak the front wings as well. That front aero is set. You're going to adjust the rear wing. Then you can work with the ride heights and stuff like that to try and get the balance back if you're trying to cram some more downforce into it.
Johnny O fighting back here. He's got around Kaffer, did that while we were in break, and now coming up on our GTA leader, James Sofronis. And that would be a fight back from Johnny from essentially dead last up to 10th if he can get by Sofronis. And right on board with Pierre Kaffer, who is, once Johnny got around him, Pierre's been able to stick with him a little bit at this stage.
But Johnny's focused forward down to the inside of the Canada. Late move on James Sofronis. Brilliant piece of racing there by Johnny O'Connell. Keeps it together on the exit as well. He is charging. He is fired up today.
Yep. Nice, nice. Ooh, Kaffer looking. Humongous wiggle. Woo.
Keeps it together. That little bit of access road you can use there on the exit of turn 13, but use that and a little bit more. Bit of a wild ride.
Obviously, he saw an opportunity when Sofronis got a little bit offline at the exit, tried to pounce on it, and it caught him out a little bit.
See, Sofronis there has good straightaway speed. With the GTA guys, the normally aspirated GTA guys, their cars get a little bit bigger restrictor, Greg. So you can see that really comes into play when he's in amongst the pro boys.
And for Caffer looking in his mirrors. He sees Fogarty in the number 99 Red Dragon Porsche from Gainsco and Bob Stallings Racing coming up and closing as well. Up front, the margin, Fong, by the way, by about a second clear of Long at this stage. And Cooper's charge is stabilized a little bit. He's about 3 seconds adrift of Long, and at this point, comfortably in front of Mancinelli. Good battle for Fox. But let's take a look at our motor train. Clean pass of the race. It has been voted already. It was a beauty.
It was clinical. he was focused forward. He wasn't worried about Pierre Caffer. He was just looking at the next man on his list, and that was James Safronis.
And made it stick on the exit. Johnny Red doing what he does. That put him up now into 10th. And that's important points, obviously.
Obviously, the thing we've got to focus on right now, Greg, are the fast laps of the day that set the good for tomorrow. Right now, Adley Fong has the fastest lap, so it would be a 4th consecutive pole for Bentley here at Road America if he can hang on. Long would be on the front row alongside, then a bunch of guys right behind them. Cooper's there at a 206.6, Mancinelli at 206.8. The Acura's a quick 2. Johnny O'Connell's got a good lap in, so it's going to be a similar mix on the front end tomorrow.
Meanwhile, this battle is starting to heat up just a little bit. There's Cooper sitting in 3rd. Behind him, Mancinelli has Peter Cox all over. Here they come into turn 14, and that is the battle for 4th spot right now. And as you said, Mancinelli, that car, at times just doesn't look very happy, but he's managing to wheel it around here fairly well. But Peter Cox on form and is right in his wake.
Yeah, it seems like when Mancinelli asks a little bit more from the car, it just seems to get a little bit edgy on him. He just settles into a rhythm and a lap time and pace, it's okay. But as soon as he starts to push it a little bit deeper, it starts to twitch around.
Down into turn 3. Hugely important corner here because it leads you into that really long, fast marine sweep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is.
It's a great piece of the racetrack. This racetrack just has such brilliant rhythm. And talking to some guys in the paddock this morning, you talk about new circuits. How can they not be better in terms of passing? Well, this is the classic. What you need is long straightaways, big brake zones, and 90-degree corners. That makes for great racing.
Yep, it offers up lots of zones for overtaking, and the racing as a result generally spectacular.
This is Eversley on Brian Sellers.
Oh, and O'Connell right in the mix looking for opportunity here. Sellers covers it. And look at Johnny going to stuff it down the inside. I don't think Eversley knew he was there, and there's the touch.
Wow, these guys have been battling. Now Safronis has a run to the inside to turn 7. He clears them both, does he?
Well, he didn't get O'Connell, but he's still there.
Eversley, and Caffer's trying to have a look through as well. Had to be awfully close, but Johnny was just on a mission. He's not giving an inch right now.
He is just taking it, and it's that simple. And at this track, sometimes in these cars you talked about with that aero wash, you see an opportunity, you're just going to pounce. And Johnny has been doing a great job of executing the pounce here after that incident on the opening lap in turn 5. So things look to have settled a little bit as we hop on board with Pierre Caffer, still there in the 12th spot. And chasing James Safronis. We'll be right back to Road America. is the Bentley, who started from pole, that continues to lead. Adderley Fong is having a superb run here, although he continues to look in his mirrors and see the relentless red number 58, red and white number 58 of one of the best in the world, Patrick Long. But so far, Adderley has been absolutely up to the job, Cal.
It's been a flawless run other than the little argy-bargy with Johnny O'Connell down into turn 5 on the opening lap. But Greg, we're 5 minutes on the board. When you're looking for your first victory, this is where you can't afford to let it get away. Can he hang on? Can he stay focused and hit his marks and just bring it home?
He has been running awfully strong. And look at this, as Eversley has gone back around on Johnny O'Connell. So
awesome
I'm sure
battle there. And then you got two Atlanta boys. They're typically on the same plane on the way home. So hopefully this has a happy ending here.
Well, you almost wonder if maybe Johnny didn't try something on Sellers, and it cost him some momentum. And Eversley is another guy. When he's up on the wheel, he just attacks.
He does. He's a great racer. Gives it 1,000,000%. Great to see him succeeding at this level in the sport.
It is. Once he got the break, boy, he just stepped up big time. And for a long time, I mean, he was, obviously a real gun in some of what they might call a support series level of racing. Well, look at Johnny now, swings to the inside, going to take another run, and he's through.
He is. Caddy has some straightaway speed. Johnny's using it well, as you can see in his rearview mirror. Look to the side there, you can see Eversley looking for a way back through. Awesome onboards here. This is the thick of the battle right here. Watch that Cadillac. Just inches away there, even though Eversley's right in his draft.
Watch up front. Does Johnny have a run to do something with Sellers? Sellers thought he did as he kind of drifted left a little bit. Look at Eversley.
Yeah, that backs him up almost into Eversley, because Sellers doesn't have the braking performance it looks like. You got to take it in any deeper. You're obviously a little bit offline, so you got to be conservative with how deep you take it in. You don't want to make a mistake and run wide. He's just running hang on here for 4 more minutes.
This is a brilliant battle that continues for the 8th spot between Sellers, Eversley, and O'Connell up front. Adderley Fong, Pat Long, and Michael Cooper are currently on the podium. We are back, and we are on the second to last lap. White flag next time by, start finish. But of course, here at Road America, from where these guys are, it's still over 3 miles that Adderley Fong has to negotiate before the white flag comes out in the beautiful Absolute Racing Bentley Continental GT3. And he has been just superb here today. Pat Long second, and Michael Cooper's faded a little bit now. Is about 5 seconds adrift of Pat Long in third.
Well, this 27-year-old driver said after grabbing the pole this morning, he said, I used to play this circuit on PlayStation with the Bentley Speed 8. That was his car of choice. He said, how cool is this to be on the pole with Bentley? But look at Pat Long. He's got a run. He has a run on the leader right now.
Yeah, turn 6 is a very tricky corner, and Adderley, it just looked like he didn't quite get it right, Cal.
Well, we're talking about hanging on. This is where the pressure really mounts. You got someone right on your tail as you're trying to get your first victory. So easy to let the pressure get to you.
And Pat's got those lights flashing.
Oh, he looks at the inside. He's getting the downforce. When Adderley takes that wide sweep, that will give the downforce back to Pat Long on the inside line. This is the problem. This is the problem corner. You just can't get too close. Look at the gap right there. Pat just has to give it up and then get back on the gas. And that takes the pressure away from Adderley Fong for the brake zone for Canada.
And here we go into Canada corner.
Let's get the white flag this time by.
And Adderley really looked like he just got something a little wrong up in turn 6, and that allowed Pat to just suddenly run him down. But boy, Adderley has responded, hasn't he?
That's the key. You're going to make little bobbles during the course of a race. It's not allowing them to magnify into an even bigger problem. And and letting someone take advantage of you. Pat was right there. It was very close down into that brake zone for turn 8. One more lap to hang on.
Here we go, up the hill, heading into turn 1, and the white flag flies. 1 lap to go here in the 10th round of the Pro League World Challenge GT Championship at the Grand Prix of Road America, presented by VP Racing Fuels and Adderley Fong through turn 1. Heading down
a lot of the road there.
Yeah, he was.
Like, they're not going to ding me on the final lap.
Certainly they won't do that. Out of 3. This is the part they call Marine Sweep. We've got some traffic up front, too. That's the 04 of Jorge De La Torre.
A lot of work done by that crew. He had a fiery qualifying. Some bodywork got down on the exhaust and came to a halt out on the race circuit. So did a great job getting the car on the grid.
Look at Pat just trying to get into Adderley's head with the lights flashing. And this is where Adderley had his little moment. See him check the mirrors there.
A glimpse of how close he is. You're never quite sure. You think you got the corner just right with the guy behind you. And this is where Pat Long is really strong. Can he keep it close here?
Boy, Pat is just absolutely dialed up through turn 6. Look at Adderley now flashing the lights at De La Torre.
But Long is smart. He recognized this is a big day for him in the championship. Don't throw it all away just for one more position.
Yep.
You want to maximize points, but you got to think big picture. That's how you win championships and titles.
They give it to Jorge De La Torre. He came out of turn 8 and immediately pulled hard left and let these guys through unabated. Here's the kink. And this is where Adderley gets a lot of it back and does it again.
Yeah, that just takes all the pressure off Adderley Fong. And again, Greg, it's that Bentley, it just punches such a big hole in the air that magnifies the aero wash that the guys get when you drive behind it.
Adderley through Canada corner one final time. Up and under the Billy, or I still say it, under the Billy Mitchell Bridge. There's no bridge there now, it's a tunnel, but it's the Billy Mitchell corner. And heading toward turn 14, he's just got to get through this one clean. You can see Pat Long kind of shallowed his entry up, trying to maybe get Adderley to take the bait in the mirrors. Adderley did not. Onto the front straight we go. After a pole last year here, Adderley comes through from pole and this time makes it pay with a win, and a great run for Bentley at Road America, bringing home the win. What a run, of course, for Pat Long. As you said, Cal, he was hounding him, but he wasn't going to throw it away and knows he needs those points. Great run. And for Michael Cooper, boy, I tell you, from 8th on the grid up into 3rd, huge points for Coop.
He's on a roll. He's getting those big points, and that's what it takes. Long will take a little bit out of that overall championship lead away by finishing one position ahead of him, but still a great day for Michael Cooper, and a question of what might have been for his teammate Johnny O'Connell, who rolls across the line in 8th.
Yeah, he was able to sneak by Brian Sellers in those last couple of laps while we were watching this battle for the lead. Mancinelli hangs on to 4th, and there's James Safronis. You can see one finger out the window, winning in the AM category.
With Michael Shine not being here, it's a big day for him.
That is a big day. Mike Shine away, attending a relative's wedding. Mike will be back and running in the next round of the championship here tomorrow. But yeah, big day, as you point out, for Safronis. Potter 2nd in the 44 Magnus Audi, and Tim Pappas, who always goes well here in that Black Swan Mercedes, in 3rd in the AM category. Going back here to Mancinelli 4th, Cox 5th overall, Parent into 6th, the number 9 K-Pax car. Alec Udell, a great run to 7th in the 17. Porsche, then O'Connell, Sellers, and Eversley.
Tell you what, hats off to John Potter. We didn't see a lot of him today, but I think this has been one of his best weekends. I mean, to be only about a second off of a pro like Pierre Caffer in a similar car, that is a great performance by John.
Yeah, it really is, and a good, strong 2nd place. He's fairly well placed in the points as well, so good run for him. So we're going to step away so we can be back and be ready when our podium finishers, and in particular Adderley Fong, will be stepping out of that Bentley. We'll visit with him. Welcome back, everybody. What a race the crowd saw here at Road America. Let's quickly get down to Jeff Lepper with an elated winner.
Yeah, Adderley Fong crawls out of his Bentley Continental GT3. Not only his first win in North America, but his Sprint X teammate Vincent Abril won at Paul Ricard in a Bentley earlier today. So for you, your first win in North America, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, a year and a half in Pirelli World Challenge, and finally to do it at the iconic Road America. I'm very happy on a beautiful day like this.
You started on pole today. Also fastest race laps. You're a multiple pole winner for tomorrow. Pretty important here.
Yeah, getting the lead on the first lap was actually very important. It's very high speed, the circuit, Road America. So, you know, the downforce these cars generate really are affected by the environment. So if you have a car in front, it's so difficult to put a lap together. But luckily we were in the lead, so it was an easier job.
And tell us, for your race here today, what does it mean for you to win here today with in North America?
Oh, huge. Like I said, it's the first time winning in Pirelli World Challenge. There's such a high level of drivers here. You know, there's factory teams and factory drivers. Put the car in front of them is something I only dreamed of as a kid.
And once again, we talk about that fastest race lap tomorrow, same as yesterday, or same as today, right?
Yep. Yeah, I guess keep it clean, try to get through, and hopefully from start to finish, pull the flag.
Well, big day for Bentley here, Pirelli World Challenge, as well as over there in Europe with his teammate in Sprint X, Cal.
Yeah, that's a huge day for Bentley. Congratulations to both the boys. I mean, they're performing at the top level, and a lot of pressure there. He didn't crack, little bobble here and there, but great first victory.
Yeah, and you got Pat Long flashing lights in your mirrors for the last, what,
it's not easy.
4 or 5 laps of that race, and to hang on like that, that was superb.
And, you know, the confidence that he's got from the win today, that will certainly translate to tomorrow. Again, I think he's vulnerable in the first lap or two, but he hung on. He got that lead. There's the argy-bargy with Johnny O'Connell. He survived that one. No damage to the car. Brilliant first win.
And let's take a look at our VP Fuels hard charger. It goes to Alec Udell. What a big day for him. Up 4 spots overall during the course of the race. So he gets that award along with his great run in the Optima Batteries Best Start Award. Let's get back down to Jeff with our GTA winner.
Well, James Safran, it's great points day for you as well, and a great drive today.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, the guys put an awesome effort in. We had Preston with us this weekend, so 4 cars shows that GMG can run a massive program and make it happen. I know Alec won a little bit more up there. Preston was running great, so it felt good for me to get I was in the top 10, and then the pro guys around me were getting a little dicey, and I just said, you know, back off. No need to hold them up or fight with them. And we had a nice cushion, so the GMG Racing guys were great. Pirelli tires were awesome. Porsche GT3R didn't skip a beat. Beautiful day at Road America, so good points race for us. Looking forward to tomorrow, hopefully do another one.
Got some competition tomorrow with Michael Shine returning back here to race tomorrow.
That's true, but again, Cal alluded to the fact that great points opportunity here is Nargis, his wife, and his beautiful children are there to help celebrate here as well. Now let's take a look at our Cadillac ATS-V move of the race, and basically it was Adderley Fong holding on at the start. As you said, Bentley not awesome all the time on those cold tires, and Johnny O'Connell certainly gave him a real close run, but Adderley was able to hang on.
He did. You know, he realized that he had to try and maintain that track position. I think he learned from last year, Greg, and it was tight. Look at that in turn 1. There's a new angle at it. They're almost trading paint there on the very first corner. And down to turn 3. Here comes Johnny O'Connell again. They're side by side here for the first half of the lap.
And out of turn 3, and Adderley at that point clear sailing. Of course, Johnny was able to join him here and come back again.
He just kept hanging tough. Certainly the Cadillac gets the acceleration, but then the Bentley strong in the middle of the straightaway, and then we saw the battle down into turn 5.
So that wraps up our 10th round of the Pirelli World Challenge GT Championship here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at Road America, presented by VP Racing Fuels. Great to have you with us to take a look at some of the great moments of this race, but we've got another one coming up for you here, so looking forward to that as well. So for now, for Calvin and Jeff and our entire CBS Sports Network crew, I'm Greg Creamer in association with WC Vision. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.